All right, today we're tearing the fluff off and looking at 7 shotguns that actually earn a spot in a tactical kit. This isn't a pretty gun roundup or a nostalgia trip. This is practical, hard-use hardware. Things that run when it matters, that you can teach a rookie to use, and that an experienced shooter will pick when failure isn't an option. Expect a mixed bag: pump guns that laugh at weird loads, semi-autos that eat dull brass and keep feeding, and a couple of oddballs that solve real problems in tight spaces. No giveaway plugs, no staged "look how cool this is" theatrics. Just honest takes on ergonomics, reliability, controllability, and where each gun fits in real life: home defense, duty, breaching, or fast follow-ups on the range. Each entry will be short and useful. Quick specs you can speak on camera, what it feels like on the shoulder, a real-world verdict, and one practical tip you can use if you buy one. The order's been shuffled. This is not the same list you may have seen before. Expect opinions backed by range time, not press releases. Number 7. Remington 870. Tactical. 12-gauge pump. Common tactical configs run 4+1 to 6+1 tube capacity, depending on magazine tube, barrel lengths usually from 18 to 20 inches, with heat shield options, ghost ring or bead sights, and a heavy-duty bead or ghost ring up front for fast index. Simple, mechanical, and fixable with basic tools. Range, feel, and recoil. It feels like a tool, not a toy. The action is chunky and positive. Recoil is honest but predictable. You learn to drive the pump instead of wrestling the gun. Because the gun is heavier up front, you get good muzzle control for shot patterns and quick follow-ups once the mechanics are right. This is the gun you hand to a trainee and sleep easy about. It runs on weird loads, it eats low-pressure rounds and heavy slugs. It tolerates mini shells and breacher rounds, and a beat-up 870 will usually outwork a finicky semi in a bad day. For duty kits, entry teams, or somebody who wants a no-nonsense home defender, it's hard to beat the dependability and field repairability. Spend time on reload drills and malfunctions with the pump. Know the geometry of the action so you can clear a short stroke without panicking. Swap to a good recoil pad and consider a magazine tube extension only after you practice reloads under stress. Number 6. Kel-Tec KSG. Twin magazine tubes, bullpup layout, 12-gauge, overall length roughly 30 inches depending on barrel, tube capacities commonly 7+7 or 5+5 per tube, single barrel with a shell selector on top to pick which tube feeds. It's a compact footprint for the round count it carries. Uncommon layout, but it's real and on the market. Range, feel, and recoil. Pointed, and it's surprisingly controllable for a 12-gauge because the weight sits back and the bore axis is low. The impulse is still there. It's a 12-gauge, but the bullpup balance makes rapid index and target transitions easier in tight lanes. Expect different ergonomics. Manual of arms is not instant for every shooter. This is a purpose-built oddball. It shines when space is the limiting factor. Vehicle work, tight hallways, or as a truck gun where length matters more than tradition. Reliability has improved with later runs, but magazine-fed pump-style loading and the unique feeding geometry mean it's not as universally forgiving as a conventional pump or proven semi. Don't buy it because it's neat. Buy it because your mission needs compact shells in the butt capability. Practice tube selection and reloads until switching tubes is second nature. Train malfunctions specifically for upward tube switches and get a proper cheek weld for the bullpup layout. Slapping a standard stock solution on top won't fix the ergonomics. Number 5. Genesis 12. Taran Tactical Variants. Magazine-fed 12-gauge that borrows AR ergonomics. Box mags from 5 up to 20 rounds, depending on configuration. Common barrel lengths from 16 to 18 inches. M-lock or M-lock handguards, ambidextrous controls, and plenty of rail real estate for lights and optics. The Taran Tactical 3-gun variants crank the price and polish up the internals, but the core Genesis platform is about fast, repeatable strings from a chassis that feels familiar to anyone who trains on an AR pattern rifle. Range, feel, and recoil. This one shoots different. Follow-ups feel closer to a rifle cadence than a traditional shotgun. The recoil impulse is short and shove-like, rather than the long push of a conventional semi, so getting back on target is fast if your fundamentals are tight. Because the centerline and controls mimic an AR, transitioning from rifle to shotgun is almost seamless for shooters who already run an AR habit. That said, the muzzle blast and patterning still behave like 12-gauge. Don't mistake chassis familiarity for rifle recoil. The Genesis changed expectations for what a 12-gauge can be. For teams and shooters who value reload speed, magazine changes, and a consistent manual of arms across platforms, this is a game changer. It excels in dynamic drills, plates, and any scenario where fast reloads and repeatable ergonomics matter more than traditionalism. Downsides? Magazine cost, the learning curve for non-AR users, and occasional picky ammo in some mags. But for most modern shooters, the trade-off is worth it. Treat the magazines like your life. Run multiple mags through the gun until you know which brands feed reliably and at what loads. Practice mag changes until the motion is reflexive, and add a short-course patterning session. Know which choke or break and what shot size gives you the pattern you want at 5 to 15 yards. Finally, carry a couple of spare mags in a soft pouch or chest rig. The platform is built around fast mag swaps, so use that advantage. Number 4. Beretta 1301 Tactical. Gas-operated, semi-auto, 12-gauge with Beretta's blink action. Light, fast cycling designed for defensive strings. Common configs run 5+1 up to 7+1, depending on tube or magazine options. Barrel lengths typically between 14 and 18 inches, with threaded options on some models, a top Picatinny rail for optics, and M-LOK compatible forends so you can mount lights and grips where you need them. Controls are low profile but intuitive. Bolt release, safety, and slide release are all placed for quick, natural access. Range, feel, and recoil. This one feels shockingly smooth. The blink system tames the impulse, so follow-ups feel near instantaneous compared to older semis. It doesn't magically remove recoil. It controls the impulse and gives you a very short, snappy reset that a practiced shooter turns into fast strings. Shouldering is natural, the gun tracks well, and the sight picture returns quicker than most other semi-autos in this class. If you want a semi-auto that plays nice with fast, practical shooting and still behaves when you slow down for accuracy, the 1301 is a balance of speed and predictable function. It's not the heaviest-duty, run-everything platform like a pump, but for defensive work and range drills, it's one of the best feel-to-performance compromises available. Parts and accessories are plentiful enough that you can configure it for duty, truck, or home defense roles without breaking the bank. Tune your gas system with the loads you intend to run. Light target shots and heavy defensive rounds can change the cycling character. If you plan to run suppressed or use an extended break, verify function with the specific combination of choke or break and defensive load. Small changes here make a big difference in reliability. Also, run a few mag dump drills to learn the blink timing. Your reload and follow-up rhythm should be built around that short reset. Number 3. Mossberg 590. Pump-action 12-gauge built as the heavy-duty variant of the Mossberg 500 family. Common configs run 7+1 tube capacity, heat shield options, ghost ring or bead sights, and parkerized or synthetic furniture for hard use. Barrel lengths usually from 18 to 20 inches in tactical trims. The action is simple, with dual extractors and a manual of arms that's been proven for decades. Range, feel, and recoil. This feels like a tool that has earned its keep. The pump stroke is positive and unapologetic. You drive it like you mean it. Recoil is honest but blunt. With a decent recoil pad and proper stance, you get quick, usable follow-ups. The weight up front and the stout barrel do a lot to tame muzzle rise and keep patterns tight for fast second shots. The 590 is the bring it and forget it shotgun. It tolerates weird loads, runs low-pressure, less lethal rounds, slugs, breacher rounds, and mini shells more reliably than many semis. Law enforcement and many military units still trust it for a reason. When the environment gets dirty, the semi-autos get fussy. The pump keeps working. For home defense, patrol work, breaching, or any role where absolute reliability trumps flashy features, this is a top pick. Practice speed reloads from the side saddle or shell holder you intend to carry. Learn to index shells to the action without looking. Also, run the gun with the exact defensive loads you plan to trust it with. Pattern slugs and buckshot at 7 to 15 yards, so you know your point of impact and spread under real conditions. Finally, keep the action geometry clean. A little grit on the slide surfaces turns a good pump into a short-stroking headache. Number 2. Remington V3 Tactical. Semi-automatic 12-gauge using Remington's VersaPort gas system. Common tactical configs run 5+1 up to 7+1, depending on tube or magazine setup, barrel lengths from 14 to 18 inches, with threaded options on some models, an optics-ready top rail on several trims, and M-lock or multiple accessory points on the forend. The V3 accepts a wide range of chokes and comes in both synthetic and duty-style furniture. Range, feel, and recoil. This one rides very well. The VersaPort system shortens the recoil impulse and gives a soft, crisp reset that makes rapid strings feel manageable without excessive muzzle hop. Shouldering is natural, and the gun tracks well for follow-ups. It's noticeably friendlier to fast, controlled pairs than older semi-designs that feel like a long push. With heavier defensive loads, it stays composed and returns to sight picture quicker than you'd expect for its weight class. Think of the V3 as the pragmatic semi, not the flashiest, but a practical performer that bridges the gap between duty reliability and shootable speed. It's a great truck or entry gun when you want semi-auto pace without the occasional finickiness of other designs. It tolerates a wide range of defensive loads, patterns consistently with the right choke, and is easy to maintain. For a shooter who wants semi-auto speed with straightforward upkeep and good controllability, the V3 is an honest choice. Pick 2 chokes and stick with them. One for buckshot at close-in defensive ranges, and another for slugs if you plan to use them. Run a patterning card at 7, 10, and 15 yards with your defensive loads so you know exactly how your choke-load combo behaves. Also, keep a habit of field stripping after hard use. The VersaPort system is forgiving, but routine cleaning keeps timing predictable. Number 1. Benelli M4. Semi-automatic 12-gauge using Benelli's Argo system. Dual operating bars and self-cleaning rotating bolt design. Typical tactical configs are 7+1 capacity, optics rails, threaded barrels on some models, and a range of stocks from fixed to pistol grip variants. Built for long strings and hard duty use. Range, feel, and recoil. Short, sharp impulse that rewards proper stance and follow-through. The M4 returns to target predictably and takes sustained strings in stride. It's one of those guns that feels like it wants to be shot accurately. Balance and ergonomics favor fast, repeatable hits even under stress. If proven, battle-tested reliability is the metric, the M4 sits at the top. Military units and serious operators picked it for reasons that show up on the timeline. Durability, tolerance for neglect, and a consistent operating rhythm under adverse conditions. It's not the lightest or cheapest, but it's the one you pick when maintenance windows are small and mission success matters. Practice slow-speed reloads and run long strings with the defensive loads you plan to trust. The Argo system is forgiving, but you still want confirmed patterns and POI at realistic engagement distances. A basic field kit with a spare bolt and a couple of tools makes troubleshooting simple if something odd shows up in the field. These 7 aren't fashion statements, they're tools. Some are old-school workhorses that forgive mistakes and eat weird ammo. Others are modern platforms built around speed and reloadability, and a couple are niche solutions for very specific problems. Pick based on mission. Duty and breaching want pumps and proven semi-autos. Dynamic teams and AR-trained shooters will love magazine-fed chassis. Vehicle or tight space work can justify oddballs like the KSG. Whatever you choose, run the exact loads you plan to trust, pattern and verify at realistic distances, and build muscle memory for the malfunctions and reloads unique to that platform. Gear doesn't save bad habits. Training does. Make sure you like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. Stay sharp.